Imagine this. It's the year 1285. You walk into a stone-cold room filled with silence, dust, and candlelight. A monk bends over a parchment, copying a book by hand, letter by letter. It might take him a year to finish just one manuscript. And when he's done, that book might be the only copy in existence. Now flash forward, it's 2025. You open your phone. In 5 seconds, you can download the collected works of Plato, quantum physics PDFs, or conspiracy memes about lizard people. We went from scarcity to overload, from sacred to spam. So here's the big question. When knowledge became free, did it also lose its value? Let's rewind. In the Middle Ages, knowledge didn't come easy. There were no printers, no photocopiers, no curated. If a book existed, it was because someone sat down, dipped their pen in ink, and wrote it out by hand. These places were called scriptoria, plural of scriptorium. Usually inside monasteries, scriptoria were temples of concentration. Monks copied religious texts, philosophy, science, even banned books, if they dared. Each manuscript took months or years, and they weren't just copying, they were preserving civilization. A single mistake could ruin an entire scroll. That's why scribes developed elaborate systems to ensure accuracy. Some even wrote notes in the margins like, "Oh Lord, this work is killing me." Knowledge was hard-won, it was earned, and because of that, it was respected. Let's be real, when something's rare, it's valuable. That's how human psychology works. In the medieval world, a book could be worth as much as a house. People didn't consume information, they contemplated it. If a monk spent 3 years copying a single manuscript, you better believe people didn't skim it. They read slowly, reread, reflected. There was no such thing as content. It was wisdom. Books were portals, not products. And the people who had access to books, priests, kings, scholars, they were the gatekeepers of power, because to control knowledge was to control reality. In the 15th century, everything changed. Johannes Gutenberg invented the printing press, and suddenly one man could do the work of 50 monks.
Books became cheaper, faster, multipliable. The Protestant Reformation, the Scientific Revolution, the Enlightenment, all of them were fueled by one thing: print. Suddenly, people could read in their own language, learn without permission. And the elite? They panicked. Because information had been unleashed. The printing press broke the monopoly of the scribes. It was the first internet, and it made everyone a potential thinker. But even then, there was still a filter, a limit, a sense of curation. We used to live in a world where not enough information was the problem. Today, the problem is that there's too much. Let this sink in. In medieval Europe, a person might have access to a few dozen books their entire life, if they were lucky. Now, with just one device in your pocket, you can access more information than anyone in human history. And that sounds amazing, until it isn't. Because we're not just in the age of information, we're in the age of noise. 500 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute. TikTok delivers more advice in one scroll than an entire library used to contain. Anyone can publish an e-book in 10 minutes, most of it written by AI, recycled from Reddit threads or worse, made up. It's not that the digital age made people smarter, it made us overstimulated. We went from, "I can't find the answer," to, "I can't tell which answer is real." And here's the terrifying part. Our brains haven't evolved to handle this flood. We're wired for depth, but we're drowning in speed. 1 second you're watching a documentary about black holes, the next you're 30 seconds into a video of a guy screaming about how the moon is hollow and run by aliens. Welcome to the internet. Algorithms don't reward truth. They reward engagement. They don't care if it's wise, just whether you clicked. And that's how we ended up in a world where everything feels equally true. A scholar's lecture, a conspiracy tweet, a meme, a deep fake, an ancient quote taken completely out of context, it all shows up in the same scroll. Same layout, same speed, equal screen time, equal mental weight, but not equal value. And in that flattening of meaning, we've lost something sacred, not just attention. We've lost our filter. The scribes had discipline. The internet has dopamine, so what do we do now? Do we give up? Just let the flood carry us wherever the feed takes us? Hell no. What we need, desperately, is to bring back something ancient, the scribe mentality. Not literally copying books with a feather pen under candlelight, but the mindset behind it. Think about what a scribe was. Someone who valued knowledge so much they were willing to give up hours, months, years of their life to preserve it for the future. What would that look like today? Maybe it means you read slower. Maybe it means you finished that one book instead of jumping to 10. Maybe you stop chasing the next hot take and start writing your own thoughts down. When was the last time you actually reflected on what you consumed online? Not shared it, not reacted to it, just sat with it. In a world obsessed with going viral, the scribe mindset whispers, "Go deep." In a culture that rewards speed, the scribe says, "Take your time." Because depth is rare now, and whatever is rare becomes valuable. You don't need to delete your socials or go live in the woods. You just need to build a digital scriptorium for yourself. A space, mental or physical, where only what's true, meaningful, and enduring is allowed in. Maybe that's a Notion page where you keep real quotes. Maybe it's a daily journal. Maybe it's just choosing one thing to read each day and giving it your full attention. You don't need to consume everything. You just need to digest something real. Be a filter, not a funnel. There was a time when knowledge was sacred. Now, it's a punchline in a meme, floating between cat videos and fake quotes. But here's the secret. Knowledge is still power if you treat it like it matters. If you're willing to go deep, to think, to ask real questions, you become dangerous in the best possible way. Because in a culture of noise, the calm mind becomes a signal. The world doesn't need more opinions, it needs more scribes. People who can cut through the fog and say, "This is true, this is worth keeping." So, where do we go from here? Do we just sit back and let the endless scroll dictate what we think, what we feel, who we become? Absolutely not. What we need right now, maybe more than ever, is to revive an ancient discipline. Not a trend, not a hack, a discipline, a way of approaching knowledge, truth, and time with deliberate care. A kind of inner craftsmanship. I'm talking about the scribe's mindset. No, you don't need a robe or a candlelit desk. You don't need to copy pages with ink-stained fingers. But you do need their respect for wisdom. Scribes were guardians of understanding. They were willing to devote entire seasons of their life to a single idea, a single book, a single purpose. Not because it was easy, but because it mattered. So ask yourself this. What if you gave your mind the same kind of focused reverence? What if you didn't rush through every article? What if you didn't treat podcasts like background noise? What if you slowed down and actually absorbed something? Maybe that means reading one meaningful book over a month instead of 5 in a week. Maybe it means sitting with a single quote for a day, letting it echo in you. Maybe it means putting your phone away, not to disconnect from the world, but to reconnect with yourself. Here's a question. When was the last time you finished something and didn't immediately jump to the next thing? Not to share it, not to screenshot it, just to live with it, to wrestle with the ideas. That's what the modern scribe does. They don't chase impressions, they chase insight. In a digital culture that rewards immediacy, the scribe says, pause, think, go deeper. In a landscape where everything's urgent and nothing's real, the scribe carves out a space for stillness. Because the truth is, stillness is rare now. And what's rare is priceless. You don't have to disappear into a forest or delete every app. But you can build something sacred, a mental workshop, a digital refuge, a place where you only allow in content that enriches rather than exhausts. Call it your personal scriptorium. It could be a private folder full of meaningful articles, a single notebook where you reflect, not react, a morning ritual of reading one page on purpose. It's not about cutting off the internet. It's about cutting through the clutter. You don't have to devour information. You just need to digest the right kind. Be the person who selects, not collects. Be a curator of depth, not a consumer of noise. There was a time when information was sacred, earned through effort and passed down with care. Now, it's compressed into clickbait, wedged between memes, drowned in comment threads. But just because information is everywhere doesn't mean wisdom is. Wisdom is still rare, still quiet, still hiding behind the noise. And here's the good news. If you slow down enough to find it, if you choose to treat what you learn with respect, you become powerful. Not because you know more, but because you understand what matters. In a culture built on distraction, a focused mind isn't just unusual, it's revolutionary. We don't need more loud voices. We need clear ones. We need modern scribes, people who think before they post, people who ask questions before giving answers, people who aren't just part of the conversation, but know when to step back and listen. People who can cut through the fog and say, this is true, this has weight, this deserves to last. So next time you scroll, ask yourself, would a medieval scribe have bothered to copy this? If not, maybe it doesn't deserve your time either. If this episode helped you slow down, do one thing. Share it with someone who's drowning in content. Or better yet, start your own scribe journal. One insight a day, one quote that matters, one truth that sticks. Drop a comment. What's a piece of knowledge that changed how you see the world? And don't forget to subscribe, because here we don't chase noise. We chase wisdom.